mined all over the place. Like, I mean, might have to get the last pendant dungeon, especially for an all dungeon seed. I am error, says the uncle. If you have to get that last pendant dungeon key out of the Ganon's Tower directly or connected to Ganon's Tower in some way, that can really throw things for a loop. As we do get the big key for Thieves Town as we begin here, we are playing in standard mode today. That means that we are definitely going to find the Hyrule Castle small key in Hyrule Castle. Otherwise, we cannot complete Hyrule Castle. Other than that, it's a basic standard escape with everything mixed up, and keys are mixed up in all the dungeons.
Yeah, pretty much everything here is just, straightforward. Obviously not vanilla because we've got the random items and so on. But yeah, we'll definitely get those keys. We can't be soft locked. And there's that Uncle Assured sword. That's going to be a very useful tool. We don't have to worry about random weapons to do the escape.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the vanilla Link to the Past, there's actually a marathon going on for different unique modes of that going on Speed Gaming right now as well that I will refer to at the end of the broadcast. But if you're familiar with vanilla Link to the Past at all, this is how it's normally played. You go to find the princess in her cell in the basement of Hyrule Castle, basement 3, and you take her back to the sanctuary to open up the world and do whatever you want to. The world is then your oyster. And it literally does become your oyster here because whatever items you find will tell you where you can go and what you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say finding that Thieves Town big key so early is I consider that a good find just because you're not limited by those first 4 chests. When we do get that Thieves Town access, you can actually go all the way to the back and finish the dungeon. We just may or may not need that small key for the big chest later.
Yeah, I love that myself. It means you can go clear the entire place right away. The only chest to leave behind is one item, and you just have to hope that if you don't have the hammer yet, that one item is not something you need, because that can be the thing that makes runners a little bit, shall we say, salty later on. While we're going through the escape here, I just want to cover a couple things about the runners and where they are and how they got here. This is the second game of the series here, and I actually just noticed we don't have it marked, so we'll get that marked in just a moment. Kohrek did win the first game. While we're in this room, I see we just gained $20. So Kohrek won the first game. They played in all dungeons, open, randomized, normal, enemizer in the first seed. That was Dracarys' settings. Today is Kohrek's settings. They defeated JP. Dracarys defeated JP, and Kohrek took down Aussie. They were both 2-0 victories to get to this point in the round of 16 today.
Yeah, hats off to them. I mean, it was top 96 was rough and tough, and top 32 is even a steeper level of competition to deal with now. It is randomized, but then again, the level of skill definitely ramps up here.
And Zelda only provides some wooden sticks for the hero's usage, no mirror, so the slow walk to the front of the Hyrule Castle commences. Back to the top floor, and we're going to head to the throne room. We're going to head to the back of Escape, and you're going to notice that they have their lamp beam. I logically like to say that the reason for that is because Zelda has her lamp with her and provides that lamp for the hero, but the real reason is because the game is hard-coded in standard mode to have that lamp when you go through the back of Escape. The game wouldn't normally let you back there without the lamp, so it assumes that you have the lamp when you go back there, and the princess will not stop you from going back there, so it just assumes you have the lamp. That means that you get the light cone, but once you take the princess back to the sanctuary, that light cone goes away if you ever go back there again until you actually get your own lamp.
That's right. And one thing we haven't really talked about yet, and you see runners taking out guards here, both runners sitting at 0 bombs. There are 3 items in the back of Escape, and if we don't get a bomb, we cannot get access to those. If things get really dicey, there could be a glove back there. And, you kind of need the glove to get back really quickly unless you find that lamp, like we were talking about, and go back through this part of Escape.
Yeah, having the lamp is also a good tool to connect the logical sequence of everything. Meanwhile, because if you don't have the lamp, you're doing things that are considered a sequence break by doing the dark rooms, and you could be looking for items where they cannot possibly be because you wouldn't be able to get there without the lamp. So it can really, if you have several things that you're doing that are sequence breaks, you get a couple of items that you will need for later dungeons. You have to remember, none of this is in sequence yet. You have to remember that if you're looking for one particular remaining item and you're looking in areas that you need the lamp to get to, you're not going to find that item.
Yeah, and Kohrek actually just picked up a bomb there. So this has potential. Oh, and Dracarys just got a drop as well. So both runners being blessed with that prize pack, and both runners are going to have a bomb to get those last 3 items.
And chances are, unless they can find more bombs outside or in these 3-item chests coming up, they may have to go to the shop in Kohrek Village and buy some more bombs later on, a 10-pack of bombs there. By the way, there's a 20 rupee advantage for Dracarys in terms of that right now. They're both getting to the back room right now. Here we go. Item number 1 is the Moon Pearl. Item number 2 is a small key for Castle Tower. Number 3 is a big key for Desert Palace.
Those are 3 things you definitely don't want to leave back here in the back. So I'm sure they're breathing a nice sigh of relief finding those bombs.
Yeah, that bomb drop couldn't be any better for them.
Moon Pearl especially something you don't want to leave behind. It is utilized occasionally to kind of glitch Link's state and allow him to walk on water to do like sequence break into the waterfall ferry. And there's that map for Dark Palace inside a sanctuary.
A little thing that I didn't know until really a few weeks ago myself is that the map and compass actually help with logical progression. If you find a map and a compass for an area, chances are that's a dungeon you want to be able to clear out as soon as possible because the game is pointing you in that direction. I did not even realize that the map and compass, having those, actually is part of the logical sequence.
Yeah, that's actually news to me. So that's valuable information actually. But and there's 8 bomb drops there on the tree pull for Dracarys. Kohrek opting to do a little glitch we call the Houlihan room. This will throw him to a room full of rupees, and I believe it's 255. So this will be a very good way to rack up that cash.
Dracarys checked the Lumberjack, but I didn't see enough to get a hint of what it was. So hopefully Jack can help us out with what was on Lumberjack, unless you saw.
I want to say it looked like the bottom of a shield, but I'm not 100% sure. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Kohrek goes and takes a look too. This is all dungeons after all, and knowing whether or not there's a progression item hanging out behind the Lumberjack cave, there's another key there on the Lake Helia Island.
Yeah, that's going to be bothering Kohrek now for a while, knowing there's a key there he can't pick up yet. There's a big key, by the way, for Turtle Rock.
Well, we're seeing that Turtle Rock logic coming into play potentially a little early here. Usually that's one of those things you see later on, but I'm actually surprised here. Kohrek opting to go ahead and head over to the eastern area, foregoing Kakariko.
It doesn't surprise me at all, actually. You can get all but 1 item in Eastern Palace over here. Actually, 2 if you count Sahasrara. Plus, you get a hint for where the green pendant is, which is an ice palace today, we now know. So, that's where that is. So the big key for Skull Woods is in Sahasrara's closet. There's our second sword, Master Sword, also in Sahasrara's closet, and just a heart piece in the final chest.
All right, and Dracarys gets the big key to Swamp Palace. Not the best find, but still useful. A small key to Palace of Darkness, the hammer, and some more bombs. So both runners loaded on those bombs now, but that hammer's a very nice find.
Hammer is probably one of the best finds you can get. It opens a lot of logical progression-related checks. Plus, it is another stable weapon, so it is more powerful than the Master Sword is. So runners who are comfortable with the hammer hitbox will tend to go to that as their weapon of choice in some of the fight. So we are going through the dam right now. The chest didn't have anything of significance here. Dracarys is going through the well area right now. We're going to see if there's anything in these 5 locations. The back of the well, the bottom one, is just a bunch of sticks, so not extremely useful. There's a full heart container, some bombs, and a shovel. That could be interesting.
All right, and Kohrek opting not to pick up that compass. The only thing it really does add value for as far as being inside the dungeon is showing the number of chests left, and Dracarys picking up the big key to the Ice Palace.
Oh, was that from the bottle vendor? Very nice.
I'd say that was well worth the 100 rupees you have to pay.
I think so. Ooh, that's the power glove. So at Agina, we had the power glove today, and that's going to provide some lifting potential, but we don't have Dark Road access quite yet. We are getting there, though.
All right, so we're going to get our first peek here of the library. Just another compass. I doubt they make that a priority once we find boots. Kohrek now making the play upwards towards the lumberjack ledge, I believe. So we may get another look at that to see if it indeed was a shield or something else.
And we'll see if we can get a good look at it this time when he goes in there. As Dracarys is doing race game, I didn't notice if he checked it first, but that is one of two possible ways to do this, to check it before playing it. That can lose time if it's something you really need, because you have to go back and double back and pick it back up.
Yeah, and indeed, it was a shield there inside of Lumberjack, so pretty sure we will not see either of our runners go back for that.
Yeah, shield will not be on their radar today, so they're going to try to stick with the plan of doing Aghanim last, because that would give them the full heart refill going again, and plus it drops you right at his front door. So we are getting a look at the dig spot. We are getting a map out of that. He does pick it up. It's the map for Desert Palace. I'm starting to think the compass that was ignored in the dance swap might also be related to Desert Palace, but I notice we still don't have the book yet. So I'm starting to think maybe the book will be showing up as soon as we can get in there.
I am a little surprised that Kohrek went ahead and made the play, the sequence break rather, up to Death Mountain. There's only two more spots that we can check, unless we get a mirror or, you know, a hook shot. And even if he gets the mirror, we know the hammer's not up there. But we do get a hint up here as well. So small key up on top of Spectacle Rock. So we'll see what's inside Spectacle Rock here in just a moment.
We can't get that small key yet because we don't have the mirror yet, obviously. So let's see what's at the back inside Spectacle Rock today. As Dracarys is doing Mini Moldorm Cave, there's some bombs there. A heart piece. Speaking of which, that's what's in Spectacle Rock as well. There's a map for Skull Woods.
And it looks like Purple Chest has a map for us. Not something I feel like they're going to really want. This is all dungeons after all, so we're going to have to do every single one of them, regardless if it's pendant or crystal. So at this point, I think they'll not waste the time turning in that Purple Chest.
Now, the interesting question is, what do we have logically for progression yet? Not very much. I think they might be able to... I'm trying to think if they can go to the Palace of Darkness area with the hammer, and do they need the Titans bit, or is the Power Glove enough to get to the Palace of Darkness area?
Well, if they have the hammer with the Power Glove, it's very easy to get there.
Yeah.
But at this point, you know, Thieves Town is fully clearable. They both have that big key. The only thing we'll have to leave behind is that big chest. And Ice Cave over on Dracarys' side is the map, I believe, to the Tower of Hera.
And actually, I think the Swamp Palace access is the same as well as Palace of Darkness. So those two are at least the same kind of access points. So that would open those options up. But I do agree with the play on Thieves Town, because that's 7 items in there out of the possible 8 that we can already pick up. Plus, we can defeat Blind. But 4 Heart Blind in Kohrek's case, that's a little unsavory.
Yeah, and runners of this caliber, I believe, can handle that no problem, barring some, you know, weird circumstance. But Kohrek is now making that play into Kakariko Village, and I do believe that's where Dracarys got a lot of their health. So Kohrek should be on pretty even terms with him here very shortly.
Yeah, the hammer, for example, was in the back of Blind's head. I do remember that was back there. So that's an interesting pickup there. The shovel, I don't believe, was anything, so that won't be of any worth. But he will have to route that in later to make sure.
And Waterfall Ferry really didn't have a lot, mainly just that map, or compass rather, to Ganon's Tower. That's basically of no use to us, especially if we find the the big key in the overworld. We'll have to wait and see if that shows up.
And we are guaranteed to get a hint for the Gans Tower big key somewhere in the game. One of the hint tiles will be guaranteed to give that hint. The problem is, will we see that hint? And could it be even in Gans Tower?
All right, and Hobo only has 3 bombs for us today, so nothing of value from that sequence break either.
The best sequence break is one that isn't really a break at all. Now, he doesn't have anywhere near enough money for Zora. Neither runner has enough money for Zora. So, if that's our progression, it's going to take a little while before we get up there, unless they decide to go farming.
We do still have a couple of chests, you know, in Eastern. I don't know if they want to do that, but once they get on even footing here, as far as, you know, Dracarys is making the play over to Sahasrah's hut, and now Kohrek's kind of mopping up what's left. There's that hammer for him. So now he definitely has the Dark World access.
I think Dracarys will go for Easter Palace. I actually think that's what he is planning to do next, to be honest with you. So we'll see if that's what he does. Trying to route it all in together. If he runs out of other places to go, that he can do all this at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, there he goes. He's heading towards the front door of Eastern Palace, as I predicted. So Kohrek is heading north out of Kakariko Village right now. He is heading... has he not been in the Lost Woods yet? Interesting.
Yeah, he has not, and he's had a very interesting opening routing situation going on. I kind of like it, but very different than the cookie-cutter routing that you're accustomed to seeing here.
And what makes it interesting is he's covered a lot of the same places that Dracarys has. The only thing he has that Dracarys did not get is going to Agina for the Power Glove, I believe, is the main difference right now. That's the only difference between the two in terms of their inventories that we actually track here on our screen. So Dracarys is going to find a piece of heart in the first chest, and he is heading further into Eastern. I have a feeling Kohrek may be putting Eastern on his agenda soon, but what is he going to do first? Before that, he is going down to the area where the thief is, losing a couple bombs on the way. Was going to go back again and change his mind.
Yeah, being in, you know, the Lost Woods where he was, it's kind of an awkward place to be when you're wanting to get... I'm pretty sure, like, what we're doing here is going into Dark World, but there's no straight line, obviously, so either you go around or, you know, one way or the other. But Dracarys there just picked up the level 3 sword inside of Eastern Palace. That Tempered Sword is an excellent find. That's going to be high on each runner's priority list.
Yeah, the Bacon Blade, as I like to call it, because it's logically what the game requires in order to be able to defeat Ganon at the end of the game. By logic, the game requires you to be able to have that. So the Bacon Blade is definitely a good powered sword. It is about the same power as the hammer, and obviously much more accurate, if you will. It doesn't have as wonky of a hitbox as the hammer does as well. There's a small key to Ice Palace, by the way, in the next chest. And we have the King of Samaria in Skull Woods.
Oh, and there's the hit for the Ganon's Tower Big Key. It is held by the Kakariko Village Elder. So we know from talking to him earlier that the green pendant is Ice Palace. So Ice Palace is definitely the place to be once we have access.
We definitely have to go to Ice Palace to get that pendant just to get into Ganon's Tower later, or get to the top of Ganon's Tower later. You can get in without it, but you can't go to the top without it. So we definitely have to put Ice Palace on our agenda later. That is going to be... that's a very good hint, needless to say. The hints are on point today.
And Kohrek just picked up Ether Medallion. Not sure if we need that yet. We haven't figured out what the medallions are yet from Misery Mire or Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Sorry,
with knowing that... Oh, you're good. But knowing with that GT Big Key, I think we kind of squelched some of chat's dreams there. We're not going to have that guessing game since this is Key Sanity after all.
What do you mean we're not going to have that guessing game? We're only on option number 38 right now. Honestly, I haven't been counting. But yeah, we know where the big key is right now. It's just a matter of when we get to it.
All right, so Dracarys headed back down to the South Shore area as Kohrek picks up a bottle. I believe that's our first bottle. Dracarys will be getting that power glove to be on even footing.
That was over at Agita, so he's not quite there yet.
Okay.
He has to head over to Agita to pick up that power glove. So Kohrek is coming out of the woods in the Dark World, get to check Bumper Cave. This is a good check, get out of the way. We don't have the cape yet, but he's in the area. Let's make sure there's nothing up here that we want. That looks like a single arrow on Bumper Cave today, so I don't think he's picking that up.
That unique item, super valuable, that one arrow. You know, he's at 29 right now. If he had that cape, he could pick it up and be at a full 30.
Yeah, that is a unique item, and because it is such a unique item, it is a collectible. You know, it's actually stamped. It's stamped by the creator, and it's a special collectible item, only one of, I think, 3 in the world. So you definitely want to pick that up. It's just a matter of if he's going to bother. Anyway, all joking aside, he is going through Village of Outcasts right now. Dracarys does head over to he does get his power glove, so he is, as you stated, on even footing, but with a stronger sword right now, and doesn't have either in exchange for that smaller sword, or King of Smart. Kohrek is doing the Thieves Town checks.
So I was about to say something about that, and then we found the big key. Apparently we were wrong about that hint. It is a small key that is on the Kakariko Elder, and then lo and behold, here comes the Ganon's Tower big key. Just hanging out here in Thieves Town, as well as the Book of Medora.
I'll give that to a 42. I don't know. Yeah, I will just assume that you misread that hint.
I think I just can't read hints today. That's been a thing for me in the past, just not being able to read hint.
There's the hook shot. Thieves Town is pretty loaded today, needless to say. Everything so far has been useful in here, just except for those 10 arrows. And I was laughing so much that I didn't even pay attention to Hype Cave.
Looks like a small key to pod, another small key to pod, and some bombs. Those were the last 3 items in there.
We'll probably get another look at those first items from Kohrek's side in a moment here, so we can see fully what was in that Hype Cave. Chat is confirming there were 2 pod keys. Doesn't sound like they're commenting about anything else in there, so sounds like Hype Cave is a little bit of a necessity cave today. There's our silver arrows in the treasure game on Kohrek's side.
And one thing to note, this is normal mode, so once we find that bow, we can use those silver arrows basically anywhere we want to.
And those silver arrows will make combat very, very convenient. The only question is, will we find the bow in time to be able to use it for that combat? Oh, Dracarys is playing the shooting gallery game, and this is something you don't get to see all the time. What this tells me is he's playing the digging game right now, but he doesn't have the money for it, so he wants to make sure he has some extra money on hand.
And based on what the tracker is putting in, looks like we did get that small key for Thieves Town also in Hype Cave. And I do want to give a shout out to OSS Geek for tracking for us today. We greatly appreciate it. And Kohrek getting a little nice RNG there with the extra digs, trying to make sure to have enough rupees to stay above 500 in case we do have to make that Zora play.
And Kohrek checking Stumpy. Dracarys already checked this. Nothing useful, just a piece of heart.
And I believe Kohrek dipped out of Thieves Town pretty quickly after doing these first 4 chests. Probably smarter play knowing, well, he doesn't know it, but we do, that the Thieves Town small key is going to be over here in Hype Cave. So at that point, it is fully clearable.
And Kohrek did dip out, so that's actually going to work out nicely for him because he can check that hammer chest when he goes back. So he didn't do everything else and orphan that chest. Yeah, so 3 small keys in there. That's very nice. I guess we can call that the Cave of Unlockables today.
Yeah, I guess we'll go with that. That sounds good.
Kohrek whips out his hammer and pounds some pegs. He's off to the pyramid. And either Catfish or Palace of Darkness will follow. Dracarys gets his silver arrows from the treasure game. Definitely a valuable treasure. I mean, look at the design of these silver arrows. They have that glorious, glorious tint to them. And also they have cooking properties as well. They cook bacon very efficiently.
That they do. And
oh, that was a Titan's bit.
Oh, yeah, Titan's bits. That's a very nice find. That's going to open up things pretty vastly for Kohrek.
Oh man, Titan's been on the pyramid. That is quite a find at this point in the seed because that is one of those locations that can easily get orphaned. And as a result, it can be something that doesn't get checked for some time. It was good that he found that when he did. Hopefully Dracarys gets over there and finds that sooner rather than later.
All right, so Kohrek making the play over to Catfish. Dracarys now inside of Thieves Town. I believe he's going to go ahead and full clear this. He does have that that small key.
Just to clarify in chat, yes, Dracarys does have the power glove. He did get those from Magina. He has not been to Pyramid yet himself, obviously, because we just saw that on Kohrek's. Oh, oh wow, the flippers are over here.
Ooh, that's very nice because at this point we're just a fire rod or bombos away getting to, well, we don't, Ice Palace really isn't that prioritized anymore because we know the Cadence Tower Big Key isn't there.
Yeah, I was gonna say more that I want to call that a little bit of French vanilla because normally those flippers are held by King Zora himself. He handed them to his buddy in the Dark World today and said, "Here, you guard them." But he said, "You sell these to the hero." But the Catfish, you know, he's really nice. He doesn't feel the need to make money. He just got bonked on the head. He's like, "Here, take these and go away." So Dracarys is doing all of Thieves Town. He does have the hammer, so he is going to be able to do everything because he also has that small key. So this is a one single dip full clear from Dracarys, whereas Kohrek did the initial dip without the small key. He's going to have to go back and do this later. So a little bit of time lost for Kohrek right there, but not too bad. Here's our hint tile. Something sharp held by someone friendly. That could be referring to... I don't know if the back of Sahasrah's closet counts for that. If it does, it could refer to that Master Sword that we found there, or it could be referring to Uncle.
Yeah, someone friendly is kind of vague. There's a lot of characters in that pool considered friendly that you may not even think of, such as like the Catfish or something. But we know that's not where it is today. But we'll see if we get another sword from another NPC at some point.
I think it's just referring to the Uncle. I mean, come on, it's Uncle Assured. Thanks, game.
Yeah, the hints like to retroactively tell you sometimes like, hey, there was an item here, and you've already been there.
Well, it's more fun when you're actually dragging something like a purple chest around. You get a purple chest hint as you're dragging it around, then you just leave it behind. But,
yeah, you could abandon it that way. I guess my question would be, where do you get that hint? Because I guess that would be quite the adventure for the purple chest.
Well, we've already had it here, but it was in Swamp Palace the time that I saw it, and it was left on the doorstep of Swamp Palace right then.
All right, so on Dracarys' side, this is a new check for us. Just a compass to Desert Palace, and we will get that check of that big chest.
Kohrek getting his useless item from Ice Rod Cave. Well, yeah, map useless in all dungeons. You have to clear all the dungeons anyway. But the only time the maps will really come in useful is if you're getting to the point that you are running out of places to check. You want to see which dungeons you have are crystals, so you can get to Ganon's Tower sooner and check all the glorious chests in there. That's the only reason in all dungeons is that knowing where the dungeons crystals, where the pendants crystals are, could be useful. Otherwise, most of the time, it's useless information in all dungeons.
And we just saw on Dracarys' side that big chest was the small key to Turtle Rock. So we got one of those in our inventory at this point, and having 4 of them is kind of the ideal scenario, but we could technically beat it with 3.
So Blind apparently is bad at nuclear physics. He has no fission. Meanwhile, Kohrek is going to make the play on King Zora. He has enough money to pay for Zora's item. We're going to see what's on the Zora ledge as well in just a moment. So that is where he's heading right now as Dracarys finishes the blind fight. Very nicely done. Very nicely on script, it looked like. And just a piece of his heart. There's a full heart, meanwhile, on the ledge. I don't know if Kohrek will go for that. I doubt it. We do know as well now that a crystal is in Thieves Town today. So we can mark that one off. And that is the first crystal of the game.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe either runner jumped inside the bomb shop to talk to that vendor to see what the 5-6 crystals are today.
I don't think either has been in the area yet.
Okay. And also, we just got the blue boomerang from Zora. I mean, I guess we got a nicer boomerang from Zora, but it's still kind of expensive for a boomerang.
Yeah, it doesn't do that much damage, so a little lower priced maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we already have that hook shot, so, you know, we don't really need it to stun anything.
He does provide some swag opportunities later, though.
All right, so Kohrek coming into a plethora of checks over here on the right side of Death Mountain with hookshot in hand and that Titan and the Titan's mitts. We should be able to do all of the Light World side, at least of East Death Mountain, and then head to Dark Death Mountain as well.
So here are the first 2 of 7 chests in Paradox Cave as Dracarys gets his cane in Samaria. So Kohrek finds a big key to Misery Mire. We need that one. Single green rupee next to it. We don't need that one. But heading upstairs, 5 more items up here. Dracarys is going to get a guaranteed key here. This chest has to be a key because of the way this room can be a soft lock otherwise. And it is going to be key to this dungeon. So the other chest here, Fire Rod. A compass, which to some dungeon, we don't care. Blue goo. And another small key to Castle Tower. That's, I think, both Castle Tower small keys I think we found now. So we don't have to search for that one today, but we found the Fire Rod in there. That's going to be an interesting logical step because that opens up Mocula fully now, and that means that where Dracarys is can be finished.
You know, seeing that just really makes me, if I'm the runner, want to go to Desert. We've got the big key, and I know that would potentially orphan 2 items on the right side of Desert, but there could actually be our next point of progression over there.
Something I should note here as well, since we are on Death Mountain, this is still a sequence break. We don't have the lamp or the flute yet.
Yeah, that's correct. And also, we just saw the lamp was on the floating island up there on Kohrek's side.
That tells us a lot.
The flute's got to be somewhere, and I'd be, if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Desert Palace having that flute.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was gonna say. Because the lamp is on the floating island, that means that you were not expected to take the old man path to get to where the lantern is located on Death Mountain. You're expected to find the flute to get up here. So That lamp may not get picked up, but I guarantee you that flute is going to be something they look for.
All right, just $50 in the first item location of Tower of Hera. It is still worth coming in here. There's 2 items we can get without any keys, and we get this hint as well. The Tower of Hera big key requires the hook shot. That's very useful information, but at the same time a little vague.
It can be useful information. It may not be useful information. It depends on where that big key is. We don't have a lot of places that require the hook shot. Hookshot Cave is a good possibility.
Yeah, I would be heading to Hookshot Cave super quick now, especially with the Titan's mitts in hand, or on hand rather.
He has every reason to head over there right now and see what's in there. And I have a feeling he's going to check Spiral Cave, and then he's going to probably go to Dark Death Mountain and head right over to Hookshot Cave. And he'll take advantage of the opportunity to see what is on Turtle Rock at the same time for the point of entry there, I believe. So he'll get that knowledge, and he'll be able to route that into his go mode finding. And this is all the more because the Tower of Hera big key hint was in Tower of Hera. Isn't that just convenient when that happens?
I mean, it's very nice. At the same time, it'd have been a little funnier, I think, if, you know, it'd have been another one of those hints if he'd have found it and then went back and then said, oh, hey, here's another hint for an item I already got.
Some of the hints have to be useful. They can't all be garbage. Otherwise, why would they be there?
Dracarys did a very nice job there setting up that bomb jump across the Spectacle Rock gap. Very tight window for that, so nicely done.
So as I thought, Kohrek is going to go see what's on Turtle Rock. He has the hammer to complete this 3-pound puzzle. You have to pound a specific order. If you don't, it fails. You have to leave the screen. You have to come back and do it again. So we don't want to do that. We're going to do it right the first time. Right, up, left, into the portal. Dracarys, meanwhile, is doing Spike Cave. As we find out that Kohrek can go into Turtle Rock if he wants to. He has a King of Samaria. Maybe it's necessary for us to do the first part of Turtle Rock to get our progression here. He may opt to do that. Or he may just go to Hookshot Cave. We'll find out. He's going to go ahead and at least get the hint. Let's see if he goes to get the next couple items, because he does have the Fire Rod. He can go in. The boots is in Super Bunny Cave. Well,
I would be leaving as soon as I saw that hint, too. I want those boots. I want to go fast, boys.
He wants those booties. And actually, something I just noticed is we don't have any keys for... Actually, Dracarys has a Turtle Rock key, but Kohrek has no keys for Turtle Rock, so he wouldn't get far in Turtle Rock anyway, even if he does check those 3 chests. I would still check those 3 chests and leave after doing that, though, because he won't get much further than that. There's those booties. Very next check. And 20 rupees with it.
Now, I know they're in similar positions. You know, Dracarys is in the light world side of Death Mountain, getting that big key for Misery Mire there, but he doesn't have those Titan's mitts yet, so there's no way for him to actually get into Dark World and get those boots. That's going to kind of swing things, I think, in Kohrek's favor for a good little bit, as far as just being able to speed around and make checks faster.
I agree with you. Meanwhile, we're going to find the Tower of Hera big key in here. I feel it. There it is. And we're also finding the Eastern Palace big key, so this was definitely a place we needed to be today. And now he's
going to go ahead and head back into Turtle Rock. I mean, there are 3 chests here, and if and we won't find the flute. We do know that based on the logic, but there could be some other form of progression.
So he is going to get these 3 items, and I think he's going to save and quit from here because there's no reason for him to hang around here any longer with no keys to go through the first of the key lock doors. Had a little trouble getting out of that door there. Give it another try, moonwalking through and heading all the way to the right. Going to do the Fire Rod Torch puzzle 40 minutes into the seed. Not very often you get to see it this early in the seed. We are getting to see that today. And we're going to get to see what the two chests up here are. This could be further progression. We will have to wait and see here. Good hook shot grab there. And into the north door. Small key to Misery Mire. And nothing.
Yeah, not a whole lot of value in those first 3 chests, but it's best to go ahead and check them while we have access rather than worry about leaving something behind.
So Dracarys just got the Tower Hair big key hit requiring the hook shot. He's probably not really licking his chops that hint right now because he knows that the places that require the hook shot also need the Titan's Mitt. He doesn't have that yet.
So now we're getting these boots checks from Kohrek, just a full heart container inside a King's Tomb. I'm sure he'll be heading over to the Bunk Rocks next.
At this point, I'm tempted to say the longer Dracarys puts off Pyramid, and also the Catfish. The Catfish was a neat necessary visit as well. The longer he puts off those checks, the further and further he's slipping behind at this point, I think.
One thing I just saw there on Kohrek's side, as we checked Bonk Rocks, just 20 rupees. But speaking of those 20 rupees, the stun prize in this seed for today is 20 rupees as well. I know we've already checked Zora, so money's really not a high priority at this stage, but if we need potions by chance, or if we did need Zora, you know, the stun prize would be nice.
Or if you're just saving up money for Hyrule University. Anyway, that jokes aside, Dracarys is heading to the swamp area. He's already checked Hype Cave, so I don't know why he'd go into the swamp area unless he's got something else in mind down here. Maybe he's just trying to check the hint tile down here. Or maybe he's heading north and go to Palace of Darkness, because that seems to be where he's heading.
I do hope for Dracarys' sake that he is going to make that play on Pyramid, even if we do get a check of
that might be what he's doing
Pod
right now.
first. Yeah, I'm hoping so, because that way it'll put him closer to the boots.
He's doing Pod first, so as long as he doesn't save and quit, he is in the neighborhood of where he needs to be. So as long as he does not save and quit, he is still okay. But given how far back we go to get to this dungeon, I could see him saving and quitting and possibly missing out on the Titan's Mitt. And people in chat are suggesting that this is already pretty much a decided race based on what Dracarys is doing. But I want to point out this race is not over. Dracarys could still find something that Kohrek may not find for some time because of where he's going. I don't think he's been to Palace of Darkness yet, so if he doesn't go there for some time and there's a couple of useful items in here, this could be what Dracarys needs.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of Rando. It can really look very one-sided, then all of a sudden it swings the other way. That happens more often than you think, but I will agree that right now it does look like Kohrek does have a pretty sizable lead based on his item progression at this stage.
I agree. I've called a number of races where things just change on the fly like that, sometimes multiple times in a race. So it is not over until someone makes bacon.
All right, so we're getting level 2 Sword Mothula.
I just saw a hint. We're not going to be visiting Pyramid Fairy today, according to what Dracarys just found. A heart and some cash, it looks like, for the big bomb. Kohrek does take down Mothula, finds us some blueberries. Ooh, we have the potion glitch going on for Dracarys. It didn't work, unfortunately. So, oh, it actually did work. It opened the door. He is through the Bullock side. So he is through without having to take down the Mimic. So the idea is that you want to get the red Mimic off the side while you scroll over and get a view of the other room. And the game, because this is a wonderfully programmed game from the 1990s, it thinks that you've defeated the mimics for some reason, the Gorias. And it opens the door and lets you through, even as you bring the Goria back on the screen.
And that sequence break Dracarys just did. Oh, there's another sword there on Kohrek's side.
Sword. That's
so
all
now
four
we
swords,
know where
I think.
all 4 swords are. And so Dracarys on that sequence break only got a shield and 50 rupees, so not very much worth it.
And as we said, all 4 sword upgrades, we now know where they are. And we now know for sure that the hint was pointing to Uncle. Thanks, game.
You know, I usually like to think that pod has value, or usually almost always has value, but right now, pod's kind of coming up empty. I know we've only checked a couple of chests so far, but nothing of value yet for Dracarys. We'll see in these next few chests if he manages to find anything.
There's the cane of Burna. So, Brian, if you need your cane, we have it. Please check in at Palace of Darkness. We're being asked in chat, as we find a compass from Misery Mire, we're being asked in chat if anything could be on the pedestal. Sure, there's always something on the pedestal. I mean, it could just be a heart container, or it could be some cash. There's always something there. It's just a matter of whether it's something we want, like the bow or like the mirror. As to whether those items can be there, it depends on what the pendant dungeons are, and we don't actually know what all the pendant dungeons are yet. We know Ice Palace is a pendant dungeon, so it's possible that depending on, since we know Lamp is... Actually, no, we can get it with Fire Rod. We can do Ice Palace with Fire Rod, so I guess Bombos could still be on the pedestal as long as Misery Mire is not require Bombos. Same with Quake. If Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness... Or if those are both crystals, then the bow could be on the pedestal. Other than that, it really depends on what the pendant dungeons are to what can be there.
Yeah, it's still kind of early to try to read into that logic to see what could be on there. It's too many ifs and too many variables still left in play. But Dracarys only getting 50 rupees in that first chest back there. There's Bombos. We were just talking about that. That's in the basement here. And a compass to the Tower of Hera. So I guess there's a little bit of that. That's kind of nice. I mean, Bombos can be useful. I kind of like Bombos.
It also removes that from the pedestal pool that we were just talking about as well. So we now know where that is located. Quake, however, could still be there. You never know. So Kohrek is going to continue to finish up his tour of Thieves Town here as Dracarys tries to pull off a hammer jump. You have to line up this bomb jump on a very specific pixel. If you don't get that pixel exactly, you end up not being able to cling on the ledge and fall into the pit. He can't open the big chest yet because he doesn't have the big key, it looks like. So he's going in the dark. He's trying to check 2 items. We have a small key to Misery Mire in the first chest. We know that because of the text box. We didn't see the key itself. So we're going to find out now. What is Kohrek doing going back? Is he farming? Anyway, there's one more item that Dracarys has to find here. And it's the cape.
Well, there's both invincibility items for Dracarys, and unfortunately he did save and quit out of there. That is going to put him further away from the pyramid ledge. Ooh, I hate to see that happen.
It's going to be some time before he goes back there. He's orphaning that and Catfish. And I feared that as soon as I saw him heading over to Palace of Darkness. I said, no, you're skipping pyramid. Don't do this. But he has orphaned it, and he might be making the conclusion that Aghanim might be a requirement. Because he seems to be heading upstairs, or at least he's checking the Aghanim items. He does have both Castle Tower keys. He might actually, while he's up there, just go finish Aghanim and check the pyramid that way. That might be how he plans to route in the pyramid. So since he has to do Aghanim anyway to finish the game, maybe he's just thinking, get it done now, and if you're going to go over the pyramid, may as well just do it this way, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, maybe our fear-mongering was completely wrong. He is actually going to go to the pyramid if he finishes Aghanim's Tower, and we have to do Aghanim's Tower anyway, so why not? Yeah,
this is quite the play from Dracarys here. Going in without the lamp. Now, we do have that fire rod. There are torches in each room, so if you're very comfortable with it, you can do it. It's just a play you don't see done very often.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see a runner brave enough to go and light the torches like this, trying to go through it this way. So, as you see, when you go to the next room, it does stay lit as well. So now he's going to head upstairs. The torch, unfortunately, does not carry over to the next floor, so he's going to have to light another torch somewhere. There are torches in that room with the pits that you can light. He just shows you right now. You can see the room very cleanly now. However, even though you can do this with the fire rod, this is still a sequence break. Everything you see here right now on Dracarys is a sequence break. Now, he will get to the pyramid. He will realize that the Titan's Myths are not a sequence break. They are perfectly valid. If there was no other way to get to the pyramid, if we didn't have the hammer, then we would know that the sequence break was that it was a sequence break at that point. By the way, we just found out that the big key of Evil's Bane is in Thieves Town. Both runners have that big key. Thanks, game.
Ooh, and there's another big key in the Hammer Peg game for Kohrek. It is the Palace of Darkness big key. That's a very nice find. We've got basically every big key at this stage.
Yeah, all the big keys have already been found. That is completely unusual. But yeah, all the big keys, 51 minutes in the seed have been found. It's just a matter of finding a couple small keys here and there now, like Desert Palace small key, Tower of Hera small key, in case we need to check those chests, and a couple items, and we're potentially ready to go through the rest of the game, and obviously a few Turtle Rock keys too.
You know, I was just thinking this, Dracarys was over at Pod, saved and quit. Maybe he thought, shouldn't have done that. I should have checked Pyramid.
Maybe.
If so, this is... I can't imagine by design he wanted to do a Dark Room Aga 1.
No.
But, however, if that is the case where he realized maybe I shouldn't have saved and quit, this is definitely a good save, so to speak.
I didn't want to cut you off, but get your blue ball guesses in chat, and we've already seen 2, so we're kind of running out of time to get those guesses in. I didn't want to interrupt you on that.
Oh, you're good.
So just explain the Aghanim fight. You see 4 shots at a time here, and then a lightning crescendo that you just saw from Dracarys. The first shot is always going to be a guaranteed orb you can fire back. The other ones are 50-50 between being one of those blue balls, which you just saw there. 3 blue balls. And another of those orbs that you can fire back. So we've now seen 4 repellable orbs, 3 blue balls. It is now 5 of 3, so we're going to be guaranteed to get 3 blue balls. There's the mirror from the not from Lumberjacks, from the dwarves, from Jeremiah. So now I'm surprised he saved and quit from there, because I would think at this point you would go, you would try to get to the Dark World as quickly as you could from Kakariko and do the K45 and purple chest chain. Of course, we don't need the purple chest, but I would think that you would do that whole chain at this point.
Well, given that purple chest is, useless to us at this point, he's in a very good position here. He should be able to go right around and head to K45, which is indeed, it looks like what he's doing.
Yeah.
As we see Dracarys now picking up those Titan's Myths, finally.
And that is another way to do it as well, instead of taking the trip through Village of Outcasts. So it looks like he's doing it the more direct way. Or maybe he's just heading over to, heading towards the Dark World shopping mall, or maybe Ice Palace. He's riding Ice Palace.
I mean, Ice Palace is a pretty good play. He does have mirror, so we can go ahead and get that small key we saw on the Lake Helia Island.
Yeah, that's what he's
at least for now. And we see Dracarys now making that play, headed over to the Catfish to get those flippers, and it is a small key to Misery Mire on the Lake Helia Island.
Not a useful one, but he's got to get Ice Palace out of the way, because he does have, as far as we can tell, he does have everything he needs to be able to complete this dungeon. He does have the fire source to get in with the freeze ores. He does have the... I'm not sure if he really needs the hook shot, depending on how it ends up being routed. It could be needed. There's 3 hint tiles, so this is useful information as well. A unique item held by someone friendly.
That's pretty vague, but I'm pretty sure we've seen it already. We've seen a few of those.
It's a question of which one it's referring to. It doesn't really matter, because it doesn't really help us any further here at this point. So heading south into the first Pengator room. Very nice spin slash for the first 4. There goes the last 2. This chest has some bombs in it. Dracarys is not have his mirror yet, but it looks like he's thinking about the same play, doing Ice Palace, or he's going to the portal. Go to the portal instead. Has he not done Zora yet?
No, actually. So this is going to be a new check here for Dracarys.
But why did he not route this in with Catfish is what I'm wondering.
We do not have the mirror on his side. He has not done that, that lumberjack check. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. He couldn't have done that yet because he just got the Titan's Mitt. So, but I find it interesting that he got the Titan's Mitt. And did he go to Catfish? I didn't think he went to Catfish.
Yes, Dracarys actually did make the play up to Catfish.
Okay,
so yeah, we did get the flippers on his side. So we're getting closer to even, or being back even. You know, the boots being the biggest time gap right now, I guess you could call it.
And also the mirror from the lumberjacks we're gonna need, or from the I keep calling them lumberjacks, the dwarf. We're gonna need that as well.
All right, I believe it looks like Dracarys might be making the exact same play over to Ice Palace.
It makes sense at this point. That's where he would be going. He can't check that key. Fortunately for him, it's not a key he needs. If he finds the keys he needs, he'll know that later. So he's going to... Yep, he's heading into Ice Palace. That was an ice rod hit, but I missed where it was.
I believe that said desert.
The ice rod is in the desert?
Desert Palace, so now these Kohrek seeing that may think, man, I've really got to find that small key for desert.
And we're in the room of a very easy to miss chest right now. I've actually heard of runners playing for the first time, even multiple times, not knowing there was a chest in here. Only when you find these chests that these hard to find chests are your progression, will you actually know that they're in here, because you will learn very quickly at that point that those are there. Nothing useful in that one that we can see that time though, and just a map in that chest.
Yeah, still looking for that flute though. At least to make, you know, Tower of Hera or Death Mountain rather, all of that be in logic. So the runner's making some good calls by doing those sequence breaks, but we'll still have to wait and see when and where that flute shows up.
I didn't even catch the first time we had that hint tile that Dracarys just saw. I bet you expected help, didn't you? I don't know why, but I love the joke hints more than the real hints.
The joke hints add a little bit of comical relief to the seed, especially if it's a seed that's stressing you out.
And Kohrek finds a new shirt, or in his case, a new...
that's an entire new frame. Yeah.
Yeah, an entire new frame to build. I guess for him it was dye or something like that.
This is the first time I've actually noticed that blue wireframe almost blends in perfectly with those ice tiles. It's almost like playing with the cape on the entire time.
Yeah, I can almost be seeing a little bit of an advantage with the blue mail in there when you're the wireframe Link. It's like, oh, now I can't see myself that well. And we're being reminded in chat as well, we didn't point this out, so we probably should. That blue mail being in that chest, that is pure vanilla. That is where that item is normally located. We actually have a pure vanilla item in this seed. In the Zelda 1 community, we are known to refer to the creator of the rando when something like that happens. So, Vitor! Meanwhile, Kohrek starts his cold stare fight and runs out of magic, but has to drink the potion and get us another little burst there. That done, he can't keep the eyes in the corner, but it's okay, 2 of them are dead. Third one will go now. And what will those eyes drop?
Very solid fight there from Kohrek. Very nicely done. Being rewarded with that green pendant. And just getting, you know, if we turn that in, we'll get that small key to get in this tower. Not the big one, but the small one.
At least it's a key. And Kohrek returns to Death Mountain, gets a, I guess you can say a gift of love from the old man, and heads across to climb in very quick fashion. Trying to get the quick climb there. There it is. And is going to just race over to the portal and in.
So it looks like we're going to get to pick up this small key here. We'll probably get a full clear of Tower of Hera, except the basement. We don't have that small key yet, unless it's this. That is a small key to Turtle Rock, so that is going to add to our total, getting us closer to potentially clearing out Turtle Rock.
I find it interesting that he didn't stop and check the Ether Medallion. Maybe he's doing that on the way out, the Ether Tablet, I should say.
I'm not sure if he routed that in initially. I know Dracarys routed that in, but I don't believe there was anything of value there.
Okay.
Yeah, and our tracker pointing out to us that he already has checked that. I do appreciate our tracker keeping us straight today, because I know I'm missing a few things today.
That is Oski doing a good job on the tracker today. There's our Quake. So we know where all the medallions are today now.
All right, and Dracarys took down Cold Stare as well, getting that green pendant. Very nicely done. All right, so Kohrek now dropping in on Moldorm. Sometimes he can be a little trolly, as we like to call it, but we'll have to wait and see. Very nicely done there by Kohrek. Got the first hit in and the spin slash to get that gold sword damage. Just 2 hits today, and Moldorm dropping a compass to Thieves Town. Not any value there, but we do get that crystal. That's where the big value comes from.
Yep, that is the 4th, it looks like the 3rd crystal, 4th dungeon completed for Kohrek, according to our tracker here. So he is a little bit in the lead here, and has actually did actually pull ahead in terms of item collection as well at one point. Still does have a slight edge in that. Doesn't have the bombos yet, but does have the ether. And also got the Titan's Mitt and Flippers a lot earlier than Dracarys did, so he does have a little bit of advantage in terms of progression at this point.
Now Dracarys making the play to Desert Palace finally. Also of note, there was a small key there on the desert ledge, so no idea what dungeon it's for yet, but maybe we'll find that Ice Rod and not need the small key to Desert Palace. We'll have to wait and see.
My guess would be, because we only have seen 2 Turtle Rock small keys now on Kohrek's side, that could possibly be a Turtle Rock small key, or the Desert small key, or the Tower of Hera small key. There's still a lot of keys it could be. He's going to go pick that up when he's done here. There's a small key that we need. And that is the Swamp Palace small key.
That's something we definitely need. Otherwise, we'd be just stuck at 1 chest. So very nice find there.
And we can't clear the dungeon without it. Meanwhile, another hit we just had. Dodongo dislikes smoke, so make sure you feed your Dodongo lots of smoke.
All All right, so a big heart container inside the big chest. So unless the ice rod is on Landmola's, it is going to be locked by that small key. We still don't know what that small key is on the desert ledge, so we'll have to wait and find out there. But we'll see if we actually find that ice rod on Landmola 1.
Meanwhile, we are going to get to see what the small key down here is, next to the vulture. Ooh, that's your Tower of Hera small key.
I mean, we're at a point now where there's not too much progression left, but I know we talked about it earlier. There could be some major progression item hanging out in the basement of Hera, and if so, that's going to be nice for Dracarys going forward, considering whenever he does go back to Hera, he will have that key.
So Kohrek does go into a Swamp Palace right away as soon as he finds that small key. He gets the hint that the hammer is in Blind's hideout. You mean this hammer? So the hints have started to revert to being there a little bit late behind the ball cells here.
So one thing of note, since this is Key Sanity, I saw a question in chat. Can keys be in dungeons? The short answer is yes, but since everything is randomized in Key Sanity, the keys can be out and are most likely to be out in the overworld or in another dungeon. But there is a probability that you can find the key you're looking for inside its own dungeon. It's kind of like finding an item in Randomizer inside the dungeon it's usually in. It depends on how the item pool goes.
And I have seen this very often with Palace of Darkness. In fact, with 14 unique items in Palace of Darkness, the chance that one of those keys can end up there can happen more often than you might think, actually. But with that said, I've also seen it happen in Turtle Rock. And very, very rarely you could find the Desert Palace small key just somewhere in Desert Palace or something like that. So, but that is extremely rare when that happens.
And one thing of note there, we did not get that ice rod. There's the flute on Kohrek's side in the big chest of Swamp Palace. But Dracarys, back to that, did not get the ice rod from Landmola, which means we are going to have to find that small key for Desert Palace.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make a very important announcement. Everything is now back in Logic. If you heard that loud thwacking noise, that's what that was. So, to clarify what I mean by that, the flute was necessary today to get to Death Mountain. Even though it was sequence broken a long time ago, it was necessary to use the flute to get to Death Mountain today. And as a result, that would get you the lamp that is on the Lonely Island, which these runners will not pick up, but that's how the logic works too.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Both of our fire sources are up on Death Mountain. That lamp and that fire rod that were both one on Eastern Death Mountain and one on the floating island, which I guess is still, Eastern Death Mountain.
Kohrek is checking left side right now. There's still a lot of dungeons left to clear, so while in a late game scenario, I would say go to Argus first. In this scenario, I would say this is the right play. Get these two checks out of the way because there's still a lot of things you could possibly need that could be here. We haven't had a hint for this area. Get the checks out of the way. And there's a small key for Skull Woods, so not paying off so far. Let's see if we're any luckier with the other check here. Another small key for Desert Palace.
Oh, yeah. There's the big key as we saw earlier on Dracarys' side for Palace of Darkness, but that does kind of heavily swing things in Kohrek's favor. No double dip required there. The big factor is going to be, at this point, what is in that Tower of Hera basement?
It remains to be found here. Dracarys picks up Jeremiah and leaves. Restarts the game and has a dwarf behind him. It's so nice of Dracarys to take the dwarf to the temple to pray. Pray for peace and divinity and more powerful skills at making swords. So essentially thinking that the Swamp Palace small key was in cave 45, we had to find the mirror to get that, just to get to Swamp Palace, just to get to Death Mountain. That's an interesting logical swing.
And with that, Kohrek has now found all 4 bottles. Not required, but still a nice find. And there's the bug net as well.
He has also found the most important item in the game. I mean, how are you going to take the balls and reflect them back at Aghanim? Oh, wait, someone already did that. Never mind. I have yet to find a way to avoid damage from that spider getting that pot, that key from that pot.
Yeah, a lot of that is skill plus RNG. The RNG kind of plays a heavy factor in that, but you can sort of manipulate him. Kohrek now taking on Argus, doing a very nice job to do this very quickly. Not going to get that 0 cycle, but should be able to get this down to a 1 cycle fight.
Ooh, very nice. So that was a nice quick kill of Argus, and we have money.
All right, so let's think about this. We've got the Ice Palace green pendant. We just got the blue pendant here in Swamp, and we know that the red pendant is in Desert, so that does put Pedestal in Logic. I mean, don't get too excited yet. We don't know if there's going to be anything of value there, but it's possible we could find some progression there. Maybe a bow.
Do I sound like I am excited to you?
All right, we're getting a check from Kohrek for the Bombos tablet. Just 50 rupees, though, so nothing of value there as well.
So yeah, we can probably start looking at pedestal logic now. We do know that the Turtle Rock small key could be on the pedestal, I believe that is possible. Bow obviously can be. The Ice Rod obviously can be.
We do, however, know that Ice Rod is in that right side of Desert.
Oh, yes, that is true.
So, yeah, we won't be able to get that on Ped, but, I mean, you're right. There's a lot of things that could be there. If I had to guess, though, I'm going to say there's just some cash there, most likely.
Kohrek, meanwhile, completing the Tutti Frutti here and frees the bird. So for all your transportation needs around Hyrule, 555 Duck and he'll come pick you up. Disclaimer, number does not actually work. Do not call.
All right, and Kohrek fluting away to the Mire area. Meanwhile, Dracarys has dropped in on the Moth and taken him down. Very nicely done, getting that crystal and adding one, or checking off one more dungeon from the list.
That is Quake for Misery Mire today. Now, he does have Quake, so he's all set to go inside. Dracarys is not. He still has to pick that up to get Misery Mire off his shopping list. And that lovely buzzing noise you're hearing right now is a mirror glitch. As you push a block, if you push the button for the mirror, it causes the block to instantly vanish. So you get to hear that lovely noise periodically as the runner does that.
All right, chat. Dracarys is going to go check the pedestal with the book.
Get
Moment
your
of
hype
truth
in
here.
chat. And get rid of your hype.
And Ped is basically dead. Feels bad.
Completely. No one's going to need a better shield in front of them today. Kohrek getting the hint about Dongo that has nothing to do with this game. Is now going to check the big chest up here. And both runners now have 11 hearts.
And Dracarys did go back into Skull Woods to do that last check, so has that Butter Sword now. I know that's been a few minutes ago, but the Butter Sword, not that big of an advantage over Tempered Sword, but still kind of nice, you know. It makes Ganon slightly faster.
It also looks all that more fashionable in photo ops.
All right, so Kohrek with that small key is going to be able to give us the check of the right side Desert Palace. We know one of these is going to be the Ice Rod.
That one.
There it is. There's our Ice Rod. So we still don't know what's going to be in this other one. There could be even more progression here, but it's only 300 rupees.
And it looks like he's going to go and finish the Landmolus fight, so that's going to clear Desert Palace completely off of his schedule.
And Dracarys made the check to the Graveyard Ledge. Just a map. Didn't even bother to pick that up. No need, honestly, but...
So something interesting here is that Kohrek did not check the pedestal. It was Dracarys that checked the pedestal, so we may still get a blind pull of the pedestal from Kohrek in a moment here. Dracarys is doing the long wraparound right now, maybe heading towards K45 right now, possibly.
And a very nice job there by Kohrek using those Fire Rod shots to quickly dispatch of Landmo 1. Meanwhile, Dracarys heading into K45 and getting that Swamp Palace small key.
I just noticed something else too. He has not been to Hookshot Cave yet.
Yeah, it's kind of been one of those things where it's kind of out of his way. You know, the one time he made the check over on the eastern side of Death Mountain, he did not have the Titan's Myths. So
Correct.
Hasn't, honestly, probably had a good way of routing that in yet. I expect to see it sooner than later, though. Especially after we find the flute.
He has to eventually, because he's going to eventually run out of places to go. He's going to have to go to Turtle Rock, and he's going to stop by Hookshot Cave along the way and find, oh, look, the Eastern Palace big key is hiding all the way up here. Geez, I don't feel good about missing that now. So Dracarys holds his gold sword in the air and is going to get his 50 bucks here. Kohrek, meanwhile, is going to hold his, well, not really hold a sword in the air at all, but use magic to open the Misery Mire entrance and go inside. And he is sitting on 6 dungeons clear according to our tracking so far. So this will be the 7th dungeon he clears, assuming he reaches the end, which we assume he will.
Yeah, just need a couple more of the Turtle Rock small keys, and then at that stage, it's just a bow away from go mode for Kohrek.
Dracarys goes straight over to Swamp Palace. Going to start working on that now.
All right, so headed into these Firelock chests.
There's the bow.
There's that bow. All right, so we've got our item go mode, but we don't have our key go mode just yet. I will say, though, finding that bow here inside of Misery Mire is definitely going to make the Vitreous fight super easy, considering we have those silver arrows.
Yeah, this dungeon just became a lot quicker thanks to that bow being right there where we needed it for that fight. As tends to be the case with Key Sandy, the last thing we need to find is those dastardly small keys, which we have pretty much most of what we need. Maybe, depending where we end up, that might be enough for Palace of Darkness. I think we saw Kohrek doing a hammer yump, so he didn't use the small key on that door. He won't need to open door in between. He's probably fine for Palace of Darkness.
Actually, I don't even think that Kohrek has visited Palace of Darkness. That was Dracarys who did that.
Oh, was that Dracarys who did that?
And if that's the case, then yeah, we could definitely just make the play straight to the back. We just need 3, I think we can get to the back with 3 as far as Turtle Rock goes. Not 100% sure of that, though.
That's probably why I said I think 4 is enough. I didn't see anything extremely earth-shattering in Palace of Darkness. So Bombos, I think, was in there, but that was about it. And that's not even needed today. We know now because Ether and Quake opened the 2 dungeons that could possibly need the medallions, that could possibly need Bombos. So I think we're just like 1 Turtle Rock key away from go mode at this point.
And actually, I was just doing a little checking and chat pointing it out as well. There are 4 Turtle Rock keys that you can find in chests, whether they be vanilla inside the dungeon or not. Right. But at this stage, if we do leave that that center island chest at Turtle Rock, we are in fact in go mode as far as keys go.
That's actually very true. And so he could choose to leave that behind, steal the key, and he's off. And I don't think there's anything else on that small island that he could possibly want at this point. So Kohrek is about to carry on the fight against the many eyes of Vitreous. And this is being done so efficiently that you could probably hear Ben Stein going, wow. So there was a boss in this room. Did you see him? Dracarys is now checking the hookshot chests, or the left side of Swamp Palace. And Kohrek is now heading to the Witch. Looks like he's picking up some medicine. He doesn't have the mushrooms, so clearly this is just for some medicine. In the event that he runs out of magic and or health, or both. So he can have a quick refill. Dracarys finishes his check of the chest on the left side, continues south out of the area, and is going to head now towards Argus to take that out.
All right, so Kohrek making the play over to the Palace of Darkness region and the Eastern Palace region. This should be very quick, given the amount of keys that we have and the item loadout we've got.
So someone is noting that Kohrek is significantly in the lead, is according to how he quotes it in chat, asking what happened. What happened was he found the Titan's Myths on the pyramid quite a bit before Dracarys did, and that's what happened.
Yeah, when you find the boots, like we found those in the Super Bunny Cave, and when you find those drastically ahead of another opponent, it doesn't always swing it in your favor, but it does give you a hefty advantage as far as like running around in the overworld. So that did play a big factor in this, I believe.
I was referring to the Titan's Myth in the at the pyramid in my case, but yeah, the boots also can play a significant role depending on how quickly one runner finds them over another, because that would be extra footsteps that the slower runner has to take, pardon the term slower, that the runner with the boots doesn't have to take or can do a lot faster. So well, the boots can definitely be an advantage to that extent, but in this case it was the fact that Dracarys took a while to find that Titan's Myth. The Titan's Myth was so vital to some of the progression in this mode that it pretty much gave a huge edge to Kohrek.
Oh, definitely. And it was mainly, like you were saying, it was kind of like a stack of things that those Titan's Myths, which led to Kohrek finding those boots as soon as he did. That's really kind of what swung this his way. As far as like also getting some big keys inside of Hookshot Cave as well. All right, Dracarys has dropped in on Argus. And with the Gold Sword gonna dispatch of these puffs rather quickly, doing a nice job there. I think he's gonna get the 1 cycle on this as well. Looks like he did. So let's see if we get that Fire Rod swag strat here. And yeah, we do. Very nice quick kill there from Dracarys. Going to be getting that third pendant on his side.
Now, I jokingly mentioned that we could see a blind pull from Kohrek on the pedestal, but at this point I'm going to pull that back since Kohrek is pretty much in go mode. He won't be going to the pedestal at all. He will learn what it is later in the credits, of course. But it's nothing he needs right now, and he doesn't care right now. And in the dark, gets hit by a couple turtles, doesn't care, just powers through, starts the Helmastar King fight. We're going to take the mask off by pounding it very, very delicately with a hammer. That should shatter it to pieces. And as Kohrek avoids the tail, we may not get to see that tail attack again or any of the fire breath, because one silver arrow into the jewel on the skull, which was missed. Going to try again. This time it hits, and we're good.
A very solid fight there from Kohrek. So let's see. That knocks out Pod. He's going to mirror and go over to Eastern, and then we can clear TR. So I will say there's another TR key, so there's all 4 of them. We still don't need to check that island chest inside TR, but at this point, definitely Kohrek's race to lose.
He doesn't have to steal the key anymore either, so that just worked out conveniently for him, because that's going to save him about a minute or so going to the left side to check to steal that key.
All right, and this is Kohrek's first dip here into Eastern. I don't think he's going to go to the right, obviously, since we're go-moding it. So no gold sword for Kohrek today.
No butter today. So today we have the classic battle of bacon versus butter. Which is better than the other? Stay tuned. Kohrek picking up the conveniently placed Ice Palace small key along the way. Doesn't need to check the hint tile, doesn't care about the hints anymore. Just going to ignore the rest of the chests and head north. He uses the fire rod to light a torch so you can see where he's going. As you can see, a lot of enemies in that room. Not a fun room to do without the lantern.
Yeah, on paper, that room is definitely one of the easiest to do.
Yes.
But as far as the execution with those enemies just kind of spreading about, definitely not the easiest of the dark rooms.
Kohrek gets out his trusty silver arrows, fires one each night, missing a couple shots. But he does eventually get them all down and gets his Ganon's Tower map. So at least he will know where to go when he gets to the Ganon's Tower. At least he's going to be able to find his way around easily. That's always a nice peace of mind, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely, because otherwise, how do you know in the overworld where the Ganon's Tower actually is?
Well, it's a map of the inside, so that's where it actually is. Yeah, how are you supposed to know that it's actually where you've already been in the light world? Again, all joking aside, the only thing we need now is the compass for Ganon's Tower, and he's going to be in true go mode at that point. Only I would say all joking aside and then follow it up with a joke. So he's going to be heading up to Turtle Rock now. This works out conveniently in terms of routing for him because even he is going to get the very, very favored Turtle Rock to Ganon's Tower to Aghanim's Tower to Ganon routing, whereas Dracarys already had to take a trip through Aghanim's Tower because he didn't check Pyramid while he was in the area of Palace of Darkness and I guess realized it was a mistake, had to go through Aghanim's Tower to make it at least somewhat useful because he knew he had to do that anyway at some point. And Kohrek avoiding all the chests. Doesn't need any of those 3 chests in the front area of Turtle Rock. He just goes straight to the locked door, walks in.
It's so odd seeing that. You know, you see so many what we call vanilla randos, not the Key Sanity variety, and in those you can't skip those chests at all. But with all these keys in hand, thanks to Key Sanity, this is definitely a much faster than normal Turtle Rock.
If you think that's crazy, wait till we get to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, being able to just walk straight up Ganon's Tower is phenomenal.
So he's probably going to make a trip to the right after he opens the 2 doors. He's not going to go down to the cave area because that just slows him down. Gets a fireball in the face. As predicted, goes to the right. And takes a hit from the roller. Goes through the next locked door. Going to go through another tube. And bust the wall up above. And some enemies actually come out of that hole periodically, which is can be something that gets runners, gets people playing casually for the first time if they try to walk through the door and they get pushed back. We are in the dark Canis-Samari room right now with no lamp. This can be tricky if you're new to doing this and obviously don't know the exact pattern. Won't be a problem for a runner as seasoned as Kohrek is, I don't think. Get dipped down a little bit and then there it is, he's out.
Yeah, only a couple of actual inputs needed as far as that track goes. It's very, once you learn it once, it's very easy to do, as we see Kohrek accidentally taking a fall there. But now we're headed over to take on Trinex.
At this point, I would say this is, without trying to do a commentator's cursor, I would say at this point this is Kohrek's race to lose. As he is very clearly ahead, this is the last main dungeon he has to clear. There are still 5 dungeons needed for Dracarys. So this is turning into a bit of a bit one-sided at this point.
Oh, for
I don't
sure.
usually like to call a race. I don't usually like to call a race this early, but I believe at this point it's safe. It's probably safe to do so.
Yeah, you know, it's sad because you obviously, you know, you want to keep hyping it up, and you hate to see this for Dracarys' sake. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. This is Kohrek's to lose at this stage. You know, we've got all our item go mode. We've got our key go mode. We're heading into Trinex Phase 2, and we've already got that Ganon's Tower big key. Everything is just aligned perfectly for Kohrek. I think, basically, his routing and execution has just been on point today. All right, so down goes Trinex, and Kohrek getting that final crystal. So we've got all 3 pendants and all 7 crystals. We're headed to GT now, barring some crazy execution problems here. I believe Kohrek's going to get this one, but trying to set up that spin speed there to head on over to GT a little quicker. Meanwhile, Dracarys taking on Moldorm.
And we should note that normally this is the time at which we would play a wonderful game that we would normally play in the chat, but we're not going to play this game today because A, he's walking to Ganon's Tower now anyway, and B, we already know where the Ganon's Tower big key is. If you guessed, I don't know, we'll call it 42, like I said earlier, and there's your winning number. Well, just because I picked that number at random today. So Kohrek is now entering Ganon's Tower with a single Ganon's Tower small key and big key in hand. That should be enough to get him through upstairs. Right up the stairs. Right up to continuing up.
Yeah, it's super nice to come into GT, seeing that compass counter up in the top left at 0 of 27, and potentially keeping it at 0 of 27 for the entirety of the dungeon.
Error, you did not get your items in Ganon's Tower. I don't need them. Leave me alone. Dracarys getting his boots, and he's probably not savoring that right now because he already has the boots. Now, unlike Kohrek, Dracarys is going to check chests in here because he is not in go mode yet. I don't even think he has a hint for Ice Rod being in desert yet, does he?
Don't believe so. He may have actually gotten that hint may have been in Ice Palace. He may have that one, but if so,
okay.
He may be forgetting it at this point.
And he has not been. Oh, he got mugged by one of the skulls there. That was gross. But he also hasn't been to Misery Mire yet because the bow is in Misery Mire, and that would be the item that would probably put him into save a couple of Turtle Rock keys into item go mode.
All right, and Kohrek has made very quick work of the gauntlet. Heading into the Land Mode 2 fight now. With silvers in hand, this should be rather quick. Very nicely done. One shot in each of those Land Molas.
I was told the gauntlet is supposed to be a test of your skills. I didn't see a gauntlet. I just saw Kohrek walk through a few rooms.
Well, that, my friend, is just how skilled Kohrek is today. Just that execution. Very on point. Oh, and there's another pod key in the Chain Chomp chest. We did not see that on Kohrek's side due to the go mode clearing of it.
And as you mentioned, Kohrek is keeping that item count at 0. Will he pick up the chest in the next room? I'm going to say probably not.
At most, I think we'll see this full magic pickup, which he is going to opt to get, being at 0 magic. So, going to be a quick Moldorm 2 fight with that Tempered Sword, barring any knockoffs.
Will he meme pick it up, or will he leave it behind as well? That's fine.
Kohrek just kind of seems to be on a mission today. I'm going to assume, he's going right past the Moldorm 2 chest today, and going to be headed straight to Aga 2.
0 of 27 chest check will remain in place for Ganon's Tower for Kohrek. And Kohrek is now entering from the Mothula Welcome Mat, the Aghanim 2 fight. And Aghanim this time forms a bunch of triangles and occasionally a straight line. Your goal is to fling the 2 guaranteed orbs that come from the shadows, as well as the potential 3rd orb, which can also still be a blue ball, from the actual wizard. Now, I believe that the pattern the main Aghanim takes is the same pattern he takes in the... actually, I might be mistaken, because I thought he had a blue ball by now in the regular fight, so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, not sure on my end if they, like, the patterns line up. But regardless, Kohrek has taken down Aga 2, but we cannot fight Ganon just yet. We've got to go to that lovely place called Castle Tower to take on Aga 1, and to my excitement, we're going to do it a second time, lampless.
Ooh, yeah, lampless Castle Tower, yes please.
And as we said earlier, when Dracarys was doing it, Dracarys did a fantastic job going through Castle Tower in the dark, but it's a play you don't see done very often just because, it's kind of a time sink and a bad play, it's except in a situation like this. But once you know where those torches are, it's actually not that complicated to do, but it's always fun to watch.
It's a lot easier once you know where the torches are, and it's actually better doing it that way too, to a certain extent, if you know where the torch is, because you get to see the entire room. You're not blindly wandering around, if you will, trying to avoid guards that might be suddenly coming into your vision. You only have an instant to react to them as they come into your vision. You literally see them all on the screen where they are, and you know if they're coming at you, so you can prepare for it.
Yeah, no doubt. Also, tip of the hat to Kohrek here, making sure to you know, stay mentally alert here. No muscle memory of checking those 2 chests, you know, to get the keys that you normally would. Does have those in hand, obviously, so at this point, it is just a matter of strictly business of running through this dungeon and taking down Aga 1.
Took him about 6 or 7 shots to find one of the torches. He finally found it and was able to complete the room from there. So good finishing of that room by Kohrek there. He is now on the 5th floor. The dark rooms are at an end. He is going to get to the top without any further impairment at this point.
And unfortunately for Dracarys, not finding any progression there on the Turtle Rock laser bridge. We already knew, unfortunately, that his progression is going to be elsewhere. But looks like he's going to go turn in that mushroom now.
And just 20 bucks for the mushroom, not really worth to pick up. He might have picked up by accident when he was trying to do something to the witch, but got the money instead. So I would say get your blue ball guesses in chat, but we've already seen this from Dracarys. So 3, you're the winner. Poor Zelda. Why does she have to have this happen to her repeatedly?
Yeah, we've already saved her once, and now there she goes again. At this stage, I'm not sure where she is. Maybe we'll find her in the credits. All right, so while Kohrek is taking on Aga 1, Dracarys is headed in doing those Bonk Rocks checks. As we knew from earlier, just a big 20, nothing of value here. I'm really hoping for Dracarys' sake that he heads to the mire area soon.
Like now?
Yeah, here we go.
He will find the bow in here, and he will probably realize that he could have done this a long time ago if he followed different routes.
I kind of feel like this is a scenario where a couple of sequence breaks can really mess you up. You know, sometimes you do a sequence break and you get a really nice item, and it actually helps you go faster. You know, Dracarys kind of got out of sorts, I think, as far as the routing goes. You know, just a lot of unfortunate events right after the other as Kohrek finishes Aga 1, now headed into that Ganon fight.
I mean, I personally would sequence break Death Mountain no problem, because I like the idea of getting up to Death Mountain if you have access to Tower Hair anyway. But at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of sequence breaks, because I like thinking about the logic in a straight line without trying to do things the game doesn't expect to be doing yet. And the reason for that is because when you do so many things out of order, that's when it starts to mess with your mind, and you're trying to remember places you can still go that you might have been able to get a certain item needed for certain progression. And it can really mess with your mind to that extent when you are factoring in checks that you could not have possibly done for that item earlier in the seed.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And just like that, we are in phase 4 of Ganon on Kohrek's side. You already have 1 hit in with the silvers. There's a nice double, so we're at 3. Just need 1 more, and there it is. Down goes Ganon on Kohrek's side. Very nicely done here. Just a matter of crossing that bridge, and then we'll get you that official SRL time.
So the official SRL time today looks like it is 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 2 seconds.
Get those GGs in chat for Kohrek. I must say, a Key Sanity all dungeons, 1 hour, 44 minutes is very, very good.
It's an excellent time for a Key Sanity. I've seen a lot of those seeds go to 2 hours easily. So being able to do all dungeons, figuring out the keychain in that quick a time, very, very exceptional time, very, very well raced. And there's Zelda in the credits, just like you said she would be.
Yeah, good to know that she made it back to the light world after being transported at the very end there by...
Safe and sound. We'll see if we can get Kohrek in here to talk about this. And joining us in chat right now is Kohrek. GG, Kohrek.
Thank you, GG.
So, walk us through that seed. How did that seed feel to you today?
You know, I mean, I felt like I routed it really well, and sometimes you route really well and the items fight against you, and sometimes you route very well and they all fall into your lap, and that was what happened today, and it felt pretty good for once.
And I need to note here that Dracarys unfortunately did forfeit from the race. I saw a note in the SRL channel. He commented that everything just went wrong here. We'll see if he wants to come in and chat about the seed as well. But yeah, exactly what you said, Kohrek. We thought you routed it very well today. You checked the pyramid very quickly, and it turned out that the gloves wound up there. That must have been a really nice find for you, knowing that location that could be easily orphaned like that, plus the flippers to Catfish. You made those plays very, very quickly. And in our opinion, we think that's where you really gained your edge today.
Those were definitely big early items. I just, basically in All Dungeons Key Sanity, I am extremely thorough early on, and I just didn't see any reason to skip anything up until... I mean, actually, I didn't skip anything until Go Mode. The first thing that was in my way that I actually skipped was the cutscene chest in Meyer, and I was one item away from Go Mode at that point. So it just happens that the sequencing really worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out really well for you today. And Dracarys, by the way, is also joining us in chat here. GG to you as well, sir.
GG, Kohrek. Congrats on the victory.
So the thing that we were just talking to Kohrek about was the fact that he had routed the Titan's Mitt and the flippers in at about, I think it was about 25, 30, maybe something like 25 minutes in the Dark World. And that really seems to me, at least, and I think to Dante as well, it seems to me at least to be the point where you really lost a lot of your time today. What went through your mind when you eventually found the mitts on the pyramid?
Well, basically what went through my mind was I lost. Then I found the flippers. And then I got the boots half an hour later on Death Mountain, and I was like, okay, I completely lost. But well, what can I say? I took a 50-50 and went to Dig Game and Stumpy instead of Catfish and Pyramid, and that burned me. Then I went to Pod later because I knew that my flute had to be somewhere out there, and I only had Smith Chain, Desert, and Pod left, and I cleared an empty Pod. So basically, I just made wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision, and just lost more and more time. So yeah, feels kind of bad, but what can I do?
And that's how it happens sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna get a seed and you're gonna play, you're gonna think, you're gonna just realize that just things are not going right. And any runner, it can happen to any runner. Like it was noted that in the chat as we were getting you in here to join us, someone was noting that you were the number 2 seed coming into the brackets, I believe, and 14-1 record, and you got your 2 losses here, and that's what knocked you out of the tournament. These 2 losses to Kohrek here. Any runner, it could be an Andy, it could be a Christos, it could be dare I say even a it could be any runner that this happens to, and they just lose 2 games to someone, and that's the tournament. The single elimination at this point. There's no second chance. So you did put in a very, very good tournament. We were very impressed with your play throughout the tournament, and it's just a shame that it just ended the way it did.
Yeah, it's kind of a heartbreaking way to go, but I had a fun tourney. I had a lot of fun games, and my lucky streak had to come to an end sometime.
And Dante, you have any questions?
Well, I just wanted to say that I was very, very impressed with both of Kohrek's and Dracarys' execution today. Very, very high level of skill here from both of you guys. I wanted to commend you both for that. Unfortunately, I guess for Dracarys, Kohrek's routing seemed to also be on point. We said this before. I'm not sure if you were watching the restream, Kohrek, but a 144 on an all dungeons key sanity is a very impressive time. So nicely done. And Dracarys, I was looking over the bracket and everything. I do hate to see you go out like this. But unfortunately, that is what happens here, obviously with the competition and being in a tournament environment. But I do want to say thank you to both of you guys for putting on this race for us today and allowing us to restream it, for the fans that love watching this. I know sometimes it's a little bit of a pressure situation just being in a tournament and also, being restreamed in front of a few hundred people.
Yeah, and thanks to both of you for commentating and everybody for watching. This is a lot of fun to do, and this top 16 or even the top 32. You look at the bracket, like you said. I mean, that bracket is sick, and there's going to be big names going out every single matchup, and Dracarys is a great player, and I feel honored to beat him here, and I'm looking forward to the top 8. So thanks again.
I do want to throw this out there. So with these 2 wins, Kohrek does advance to that top 8, looking to take on the winner between Mikan's Box and ACMLM. So whoever wins out of that will meet Kohrek in top 8. Kohrek, I do want to ask you.
Go ahead.
I do want to ask you one question. You had already cleared Tower of Hera, and then we got that small key for Tower of Hera. Did that weigh on your mind at all, or were you just kind of like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about the basement?
So I kind of touched on it before, but like early in an all dungeons key sanity, I will be very, very thorough. But later on, when I'm 1 or 2 items from go mode, I'm much more likely to allow those out of the way things to just be out of the way for a while. I was still going to clear the dungeons in front of me, but there was no real intention to go back to Hera basement at any point until things got a little bit rough.
Yeah, that's a valid, very valid way of playing, and it proves it right here because these guys have all made it top 32. This was top 16. We mentioned a little while ago, the level of competition here is super stacked. It is unreal, the level of competition we have here.
Yeah, just looking down the bracket, and it was already touched on earlier, but we have, just going through the bracket, obviously we know Mikan and ACMLM, their matches have not been scheduled yet. They're still running 0-0 on their series, so their matches will be getting scheduled, I'm sure, in the next few days. We have Glenn, we have Jet, we have Salty Fry, we have the Lane. Faraimi made it out of the his 2-0 matchup earlier today as well. So probably shouldn't have said that because it spoils it. Sorry about that, anyone who wanted to watch that. Blaine and Andy, they're going to have their game tonight at 9:30 Eastern. That's tonight. And actually, while I'm talking about that, they're 1-0 in their series. Blaine got to pick tonight's seed. They're going to be doing a standard Uncle Assured normal seed, like a really vanilla seed, tonight at 9:30 p.m. So that's going to be fun to watch with 2 top-tier runners. Like, all these names are in the bracket right now, all talented runners, and just being among this kind of company is an incredible honor for anyone who is able to make it this far.
All right, so I'll ask Dracarys, I'll ask you first. Any final thoughts here before we wrap things up?
Not really. It was a fun tourney. I had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one, and thanks for the commentary, and see you.
And thank you for racing as well, and Kohrek to you as well. GG, any final thoughts from you today?
Well, I came into this tournament. My goal was to hit the top 8 again. I hit the top 8 in the SG Summer Tournament, and this had more people show up for this tournament. So I was like, all right, let's try to get that top 8 again. And here I am. So now it's like, okay, now I'm going to get really down to business. Great competitors. You mentioned ACMLM, Mikan, and then looking forward after that, there's no easy potential matchups. So I'm just gonna look forward to it and have fun along the way.
And we look forward to seeing how you do in these future rounds as well. I'm sure Dante and I will both be keeping an eye out to see where you and all these other runners go. It's going to be very exciting getting down to the final 2 in this tournament. I could say almost anyone in this group could make it to those final 2. So definitely keep your eyes out, everyone who's watching, and those watching on our YouTube playlist on the races following this. These are later races of the tournament coming up here. So definitely keep an eye on those races and see how this turns out. It's a very exciting tournament, very exciting format, and looking forward to seeing how you do in the future. Good luck in your future rounds, Kohrek, and we'll see you in the future.
Thank you.
So with that said, just again, that race tonight, Wayne versus Andy, game 2 of their series, standard Uncle Assured's Sword, normal difficulty. That's at 9:30 p.m. tonight on Speed Gaming 2. Make sure you follow the Speed Gaming channel and Speed Gaming 2 through 6, as well as ALTTP Randomizer and ALTTP Randomizer 2 through 5. On the Speed Gaming side, we do have some other events I want to cover very quickly today as well. We do have a marathon going on right now, and I actually need to check the name of it here again because I've lost the name. Something about I don't want to butcher the name, and bear with me for 1 second while I check it. While I check that, any other thoughts that you have on the scene or the tournament as a whole, Dante?
Well, it's been super fun to compete in this, to commentate for this as well. I do want to give another shout out one more time to Osgeek for tracking for us today. Very nicely done, keeping us in check, missing a couple of things. I missed that hint about the Ganon's Tower key, but nonetheless, we do appreciate all the volunteers doing this. We appreciate the runners. But that's going to do it for me. I'll let Cyclone give you guys the last word once we get that name for this.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got the right name. It's the objectively better categories marathon going on the Speed Gaming main channel right now. I think that goes overnight. I don't know the exact end time, but I think it goes into tomorrow morning at least. So keep an eye on that channel for that marathon. There's some Super Metroid Link to the Past combo randomizer coming up later tonight. Some Super Mario World at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A Super Metroid weekly race coming up, and all sorts of other events. For more on that, speedgaming.org/schedule, or for this tournament, speedgaming.org/ALTTPR for all of your information on all of the races coming up in this tournament and on the Speed Gaming schedule as a whole. So thank you again, Dante, for the co-commentary. Thank you again, Osgeek, for tracking. Thank you again to Kohrek and Dracarys for the wonderful race today. And I am Cyclone, and the final word of the day is pedestal. Good night.